If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to CFB Player Performance Knowledge for College edition. It is Friday night, week 5, Friday, September 26th, 2025, the first Friday of the fall. I couldn't be more excited. I got the hair going. Gunz has 10 hats, beers, resort silence.
I got no beers today, man. I'm just coming in with energy. That's all I got today.
We see you guys in the chat. We're going to have a great conversation. We're getting into conference season. We've been talking about it since late August. All that out-of-conference nonsense out of the way, big-time matchups. We're going to have a great conversation tonight. Gunz, what's going on, brother?
As this show evolves, and I think every single week we need to come with the theme. If we're going to intro this show, we need a vibe. We need a theme. And I think the theme of this show is yacht rock, right? We're going to be riding like the wind, betting sharp sides. We're going to be touching the reins down in Africa, chasing money lines. We're going to be watching our side go down at halftime and baby come back in the second half. And guys, you can put that all on me. If you're a lady, and I know there's ladies in the chat following Shark of the Gun, by God, you're going to be a rich girl. You won't need to rely on your old man's money no more. And if you think about cashing out when your bet is losing, hold the line, because cashing tickets isn't always on time. And when the last game ends and the clock hits 0, you're going to be sailing into week 4 NFL, drinking brandy with a fine girl in Key Largo. Let's go. Week 5 college football.
You know, if anybody in the chat could even pull 4 songs out of that little medley you just dropped, I'd be highly impressed. I will say a little Toto at the end there, really getting the vibes going for those of us born in the 80s. And of course, before that, we see you guys, all generations, all places and time. It is CFB Knowledge for College. And let's get right into the board. Tradition, like a lot of things, has been Friday Night Football. This is not Friday Night Football, but we do want to open up with a game. I don't think we have a graphic, and that's okay. We usually drop Friday Night Football. We have refrained from it in the first few weeks. Not great spots. We have a free play for you guys to jump off tonight, and we're going to start right here. 9 o'clock, Fox Sports in Tempe, Arizona. TCU 24 ranked at Arizona State. This is a collaboration official, myself and the Gun. I dropped it in my Telegram. I'm not sure if Gun's dropped it yet. These are both VIP plays. We love this spot. Take an ASU. I'll throw it to the Gun. Opening comments.
Yeah, it's going to be a free VIP play. I said I'm going to drop in the chat, and I will with the write-up just to give you an indication of how I do the VIPs. And this is going to be a perfect one. Shark and I talked about this afternoon. TCU is 3-0 on the year. So a little bit high value, high stock, not a buy team right now. They're coming off that win in the Iron Skillet battle. I think the battle of the Iron Skillet, 35-24, the last one of the series. Then you have Arizona State 3-1 on the year. They're coming off a nice win versus Baylor on the road at 27-24. Now, if you know anything about Arizona State this year, they're going to be a running offense. Establishing the run is going to be important if they're going to be winning games. 219 rushing yards per game, 5.4 yards per carry. And then you got to look at the TCU defense. Now, TCU on paper looks like they can stop the run, but who have they played? UNC held them to 1.8 yards per carry. They're ranked 118th in rushing offense. They went against Abilene Christian, 3.8 yards per carry in that game. They gave up 177 rushing yards, and that's an FCS school. Not great. SMU, 3.5 yards per carry, 94 rushing yards in that game, but they're ranked 70th in rushing offense. And when you've got a top 20 rushing offense with Arizona State coming into this game, and Arizona State's defense is pretty damn good. They held holding offenses to 159 yards below their season average, and they faced some very good offenses. We're talking Mississippi State. Now, you say Mississippi State isn't good anymore. They're better. And then you have Texas State, very good offense there with G.J. Kinney. And then you have Baylor. Baylor, last time I checked, has a pretty good offense. And, of course, Arizona State is on a 9-2 ATS run last 11 versus conference opponents, 5-0 ATS as a conference favorite. And this is TCU's first big test of the year, and they are a ranked dog on the road against an unranked favorite because, of course, Arizona State losing to Mississippi State downgraded them. Arizona State's going to get it done here on Friday night. Give me Arizona State -3 as the play.
Yeah, completely aligned. Gunz giving you obviously a great handicap there. But just a couple more points. For me, this is really strength of schedule, as Gunz said. TCU is complete fool's gold. They're a fraud. Only time I backed them this year, I backed them correctly against Belichick in the first game of the year. It was actually that Monday night around Labor Day, national game, only game on the card, complete blowout. But that was Belichick not knowing college football with a really lackluster UNC team. And these last two games against Abilene Christian and SMU is really not classy this year. Their only two wins themselves have come against extremely below average competition. SMU could be 0-4 this year. And you look at ASU, obviously made a run to the playoff last year. This kid, Sam Levitt, a great quarterback. I mean, this is a respectable calendar so far, having beaten Baylor, Texas State. And we're going to get to a Mississippi State take later in the show. This Mississippi State loss in week 2, that is no slouch this year. This is not Mississippi State from yesteryear. This is where you want to take the unranked favorite against a ranked dog. And truthfully, I just see a reversal in what we saw in the opener. TCU in that -3, they blew out an out-of-conference opponent. Now they're prime time. They're the 3 dog. I see some margin coming. Take ASU and let's dominate. Next game on the card, we're going to tomorrow. This will be Saturday, September 27th, week 5. First game on the card. We saw the graphic before. Here's graphic part 2 with a conversation. We got USC at Illinois, 12 noon. I believe that is 11 a.m. in Chicago. We need Coach in here for the time check. This is a really interesting conversation. USC, season 2 in the Big Ten, traveling outside of their time zone. You would think sketchy, but I think the sketchier side here is probably Illinois. Illinois just got beat by 53 points last week. Their 3 wins prior were not particularly strong. I could see USC getting there. We're looking that direction. Gunz, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I do have thoughts on this one, but is it going to be on my card? No, I think this is a good barometer test, but I do have a lean I can give you guys. With Illinois, you saw what you saw last week, and I think we're going to see a lot of this in the continuous future. Illinois was a buy team in 2024 because the stock was low on them, and I think the stock was egregiously high because they had so many returning starters. You had the quarterback coming back and everything. So Illinois just coming off a terrible game. I mean, -48 net yard average, 418 net yard average. 661 yards of total offense in that game. They had 2 rushing yards in that game. It was Indiana domination. We gave you the play on the show, and by God, did it cash. Illinois' defense has been exposed in the passing game, and it's happened all season long. Now, they did beat Duke, but Duke put up 356 passing yards against them. So take that with a little bit of grain of salt in the outcome of that game. And, of course, Indiana, they could do whatever they wanted. They ran the ball against them. They also put up 267 yards of passing offense in that game. You look at USC. USC is going to want to pass the ball. Those great receivers that they have, they're putting up 282 passing yards versus Purdue and 225 versus Michigan State. And they didn't really have to do that as much as they kind of dominated that game. I mean, I wouldn't say from a spread standpoint, but they got the job done, won by double digits in both. USC has a strong run game, putting up 251 rushing yards per game. Illinois gave up 312 rushing yards to Indiana to give you an indication of how that run defense is. What's keeping me off this game is I haven't seen USC do well on the road as a favorite in a while. That goes back to when they were with the Pac-12. 1-8 ATS run right now in their last 9, date back to 2023. They're also, every time they cross a timeline, if they're going to South Bend, they go to Michigan, they lose. That's what's keeping me off this. We haven't really seen true road test USC. I know this team is very good, and the line indication to me telling me to take USC. But why am I not? Illinois bounce back, maybe? I don't know. I know they don't have a look ahead. They got a bye week. Maybe they're trying to get the bye week to lick their wounds, and they may take another beating here. It's the same line factor, really, that Indiana got -6.5. And you're having a road team come in at -6.5 against you at home in Champaign. Woo, I don't know. Lean at USC, but I ain't going to play this one.
Yeah, something Gunz and I were talking about before the show, and there's a lot to unpack here. I was saying to Gunz, this is more of a concept handicap. And for me, what that means is that we don't have a lot of matchup data. Obviously, these are not historical Big Ten rivals. So we kind of have to zoom out and just create our own narratives and then kind of unpack the picture a little bit. The first thing that really stands out to me here is USC is due to go on a sustained upward move here. It's Lincoln Riley, could not get there with Caleb Williams. This quarterback, Jaden Maiva, second-year quarterback, played with UNLV 2 years ago. Supposed to be potentially a downgrade. I don't think so. this is really a zoom out for a very good Western project and team here that has been down for 15 years. I was saying to Gunz, it reminds me of the Yankees. 2009 Yankees, 2009 USC, pretty damn good. Not much since. I think this is a sustained upward point. And as Gunz said, when you look at the lines, Indiana laying -6.5 at home. Theoretically, a team who is worse potentially in the rankings should be laying a shorter number as a road team at Illinois. This is very strong for USC. And final point on this. Last year, Illinois was actually 2-0 at home as an underdog versus ranked opponents. They did beat Kansas early season last year, and they caught Michigan late in the year with another win, 21-7. Crucial point, though. Kansas turned the ball over 4 times in Champaign, and Michigan turned it over 3 times. This USC team has taken care of the ball. They've been a great first-half team on the road. They're 4-0 first half this year overall. To me, that speaks to a good locker room. When you come out 4 straight games in different time zones versus different opponent types, it means you are what I said they were about 2 minutes ago, on a continued upward path. Giving you guys USC at -6.5. Let's dominate. Next game on the card, we're going 3:30. Keeping it big-time ball here. SEC football in Oxford, Mississippi. Ole Miss versus LSU. Rivalry football. This is not year 2 for either of these teams in this conference. This is history, and this is SEC ball. Gunz, we got a lot to unpack in this game. I think we're looking at an under as the best look.
It's weird to see, because we talked about it before the show. Why is this line getting steamed up onto the over? It's very weird, because from a capping standpoint, I'm not seeing it. These two teams, both 4-0 going into this game, and they've dominated their opponents pretty much. The game will come down to this: Ole Miss's offense versus the LSU defense. Ole Miss is putting up 543 yards of total offense per game right now. First 4 games of the season, that was against Kentucky, Arkansas, Tulane, and Georgia State. Of course, LSU defense has held their opponents to 246 total yards of offense per game. That was against Florida, Clemson, La Tech, and southeastern Louisiana. A big dog in the FCS or whatever. When we look at Florida, found some success in the passing game. When you saw that in that game, 87 yards of passing yards against them, and Ole Miss can pass, putting up 325 passing yards per game. So maybe there's some exposure in the passing game with this LSU team. We shall see. Last year, both these two teams met. LSU prevailed in the swamp, or their swamp, I should say. 3.5-point favorites in that one. And the total was 62.5. Now we're seeing a 58.5 now. It was 54.5 earlier in the week. I don't know why it's going up. In this matchup, 5-2 to the over last 7, and this is the lowest total it has been since 2015, even with the increase. I think it's starting to get towards the median a little bit. But the home team is 11-1 ATS. You want to take that with a grain of salt, maybe an Ole Miss spot. If the steam is going upward to the over, to me, that correlates to the line. It could be Ole Miss. Is it on my card? No. I like the under better. I just think LSU's defense will be able to make stops, and then Ole Miss will have to make some adjustments here and there. I don't think this offense is going to be as explosive as they are in their first 4 games. So I'm going towards the under. If you grab, I don't care if it's getting steamed up. Grab the 58.5 now at the under.
Yeah, this is a really interesting game. I think LSU wins this game, first of all, and I think that is why the under is the side here. Because if LSU wins, it's going to be a lower scoring game.
Right.
And if Ole Miss wins, it's going to be a higher scoring game. You've already seen Ole Miss go 2-0 to the over in SEC play. They went over at Kentucky. They went over at home against Arkansas on September 13th. Really high-scoring game, 41-36. But if you really look at LSU is 3-0 versus the under versus FBS teams. And I think really noteworthy potentially to this matchup, the game at Clemson in the opener, really their only road game I think their only road game this year, actually. But the game was projected to hit 57.5 points, and it finished 17-10. And LSU quickly just exhibited elite level competitive quality and physicality and speed on defense to really just suck the life out of Clemson that night. and probably Clemson's season began its downfall imminently in that game. Every game has been low with this team. 23-7 the following week against La Tech and 20-10 against Florida. And as you mentioned, this is the lowest line in about a decade. Last year, the line was 64.5. This opened at 55.5. I'll give you guys the under. I have a low-scoring game and a tight LSU win. Gunz and I say this every week. There are markets internationally that bet usually the opposite side of the game is us. They see recency bias. They see overs. We see regression to a north or a southern mean here in scoring. Gunz, comment.
How many times last year did we get steamed in the wrong direction and grab a bad line and it didn't even freaking matter?
I swear, at this point, no joke, at this point, I just assume they're going to bet the other side of the game. So I wait until Friday night, and I'm like, all right, thanks, guys, giving us a better line. I mean, this was 3 points shorter like 4 hours ago. What the hell is going on here?
It could be a fake out. Everybody's just moving the line up and down. I think people are really messing with this total and not messing with the side. I don't see a lot of movement with the side, but the total's going up and down, up and down. It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, even the game last year, I mean, you could make an argument that Ole Miss was even more explosive on offense last year with Jackson Dart, and that game went way under 10 points under the total, and it went to overtime, 29-26, and they played an extra frame. I don't see it. Take the under and let's cash. Keeping it moving here. Next game on the card, we're going big time football here. Happy Valley going to be a whiteout tomorrow night, 7:30 in the center of Pennsylvania, Beaver Stadium, University Park. And I know people in the center of Pennsylvania are beyond hyped for this game. These are the games. This is not going to be – I'm sitting here in Florida. It's still 85 degrees. It's going to be in the 60s. It's going to be loud. It's going to be a whiteout, as I said. Gunz has the hat on, not because he loves Navy, but because he loves Penn State tomorrow night. Gunz, what's going on here?
I mean, what – James Franklin, step up for once. This is a top 10 matchup. And by the way, you're a favorite this time. I mean, everybody wants to bring up that record of how bad he is against the top 10. Keep bringing it up, everybody. I want all the pundits to bring it up tomorrow, and nobody looking into the history and seeing that every single time Penn State's a dog, but you're seeing him as a favorite here. Let's tell you why you should be taking Penn State. Well, this is both teams' first challenge of the year, but Penn State really hasn't faced anybody. This is actually week 1 for Penn State. They had a few warm-up games, a preseason, I would call it. And now you get in this game. They're coming off a bye, well-rested, well-prepared for this Oregon team. So this is a different situation that we've ever seen it with a James Franklin Penn State team going against a top 10 opponent. It's a revenge game, too. If you guys remember, in the Big Ten championship last year, neutral field, 45-37 was the final. They were 3.5-point dogs in that situation on a neutral field. You're seeing the line flip, making them a favorite here. And you got to go look at the box score in that game. Penn State won the yardage battle in that game, putting up 518 yards of total offense in that game, but a -2 turnover ratio that resulted in 14 points on the opposing side. Do the math. This was supposed to be a Penn State win by 7, and it wasn't because they made mistakes down in the game. Then you got to look at Penn State, 7-2 ATS last 3 years as a single-digit favorite, and this is the first time Penn State has been a home favorite versus a top 10 opponent since 2015. Yes, I know 1-5 ATS is a home dog versus top 10 opponents. You got to look at the numbers here, folks, before you jump the gun. Then you got to look at Oregon. I know they're 4-0 ATS as an away dog versus top 10 opponents dating back to 2015, but I don't care. You have the revenge angle. You have the line correlation. This is a Penn State spot. And if James Franklin can't get it done, I got nothing left for you, buddy. I don't know if I could ever put you on my card again. Every single time you face a top 10 opponent, you step on yourself, but I just don't see this being the step on point. Dante Moore was not the quarterback last year, of course, but Drew Aller was, so he remembers. Give me Penn State -3.5.
Yeah, I mean, great point. Segueing to the Oregon project here. I mean, you have to remember last year this was Dylan Gabriel, and he was balling. He's currently a professional. He's no longer in college, and I think you're seeing a quality shift in Oregon. Oregon here 6th in the country. Last year they were 1, and this is just a reversal in the talent gap in this rivalry. Less than a year removed from the Big Ten championship game last year, as Gunz mentioned. But when you really look at this, I think you also have to look at just opponent quality this year for Oregon. Just very poor. Montana State caught one of the worst versions of Oklahoma State in years. Mike Gundy obviously out the door at this point. Just not OK State from yesteryear at all. At Northwestern, mediocre, not anything to write home about in the Big Ten. And then Oregon State last week, one of the worst Oregon State teams we've seen in the last 10 years as well. So two of their most competitive games that you would have expected, they got the worst possible version of these teams. You look at Penn State. Penn State, I think, is a great buy low ATS, actually. Gunz has been on here for years saying, don't back James Franklin laying a huge figure out of conference. Well, they are 0-3 ATS, buy low. They have actually dominated those games, however. Playing Nevada, FIU, and Villanova, the score in those games combined was 132-17. So the defense is on total lockdown. They completely dominated. They just didn't cover big spreads. So it's a great statistical buy low. And as Gunz mentioned, you're getting a revenge game. This is the biggest game in years. Penn State's going to win this game. I have them to win by 9 points. Another collaboration, the Shark and the Gun. I love that hat. I do love Navy, and I like white at Beaver Stadium tomorrow night. Take Penn State, and let's dominate. Next game on the card, also a night game tomorrow night. Athens, Georgia, SEC football. Big-time stuff here. Alabama, Georgia. This is great history here. These teams have met 9 times since 2012, and 6 of those were either in the SEC championship game or the national championship game. You talk about pedigree here. It doesn't get stronger than this in the last decade plus. Because of that, I honestly couldn't figure it out. I could see either way. Gunz, any thoughts?
I mean, I got the hats here, right? I mean, I got a Georgia hat, if you see that. I even got an Alabama hat this year because I figured. I'm just like, what do I do, Lee Corso? What do I do, Lee Corso? I ain't taking a side. I'm looking at the total. Both teams coming off the bye, so they're both rested and well prepared. Scenario-wise, it works out. Of course, you look at Georgia, you got a little bit of a ranked sample size. Of course, they went to Tennessee on the road. Rocky Top won the game 44-41 in overtime. And Bama, of course, in their big game, they lost to Florida State. So what do you do here, right? Georgia did show some weaknesses, stopping the pass, 371 passing yards versus Tennessee. So we're starting to see some this Georgia defense not being as powerful as we've seen in the past with a Kirby Smart defense. Georgia's offense is a little bit more balanced, though. Their offense is getting a little better. If you look at the run balance here, it's worked out very well. However, you know what Bama's going to do. Bama's going to pass the ball. They put up 300-plus passing yards in their last 2 games and 254 in their loss to Florida State. So what are we doing here? Can't take either side. I don't really trust them as far as a small lean here. But you look at Georgia. I mean, Bama's own Georgia. It seems like every time it's death taxes always take Bama. They're 9-1 straight up in the last 10 meetings. However, break it down a little bit. This isn't like home and home type of stuff. It's usually neutral field or a national championship game or a SEC conference game in a lot of those scenarios. So you got to throw that out the window. Now, I'm looking at the total on this one. The last time these two teams met in Tuscaloosa, total was 49.5. Now we're seeing it up to 53.5. Now, is this a big line factor on this one for a total? Not really for me, but it does lean towards an overside on this one. Of course, it makes sense with Georgia giving up 41 points to Tennessee and Bama giving up 31 to Florida State. And both offenses are electric. So I'm cheering for points on this one. Small lean towards Bama, Georgia over 53.5, but I'm not playing aside.
Yeah, we try to really target some of these big games for this show. Sometimes the games are just not great to handicap. I would agree the best look is the over. Do not love it. Just to elaborate further, I mean, you go back to what Gunz said. The last time Georgia played a football game here, you got to go back pre-bye. They really were abysmal defensively at Tennessee, 85 points in the game. Just an egregious lack of defense. And, I mean, the only time Bama played on the road this year, they give up 31 to FSU. Who was graded to be awful coming into the year. Of course, they're different. They're playing right now as we record this at Virginia. But the over is the best look in this game. I wish I had more. I don't. It's a tough game. Gun says over. I trust the gun. Let's cash. Keeping it moving here. A couple out-of-conference, I should say in-conference games, not big-time games, although the people of Toledo, Ohio at the Glass Bowl would say, Shark, what the hell are you talking about? This is big-time stuff. Akron, Toledo, at 3:30. Gunz, we talk about this all the time. The Glass Bowl has to be the best name of a stadium in the country. LeBron and the boys getting there for Akron in the stands tomorrow? I'm not sure. What do you think about this one?
I've actually, on my other job, I've actually been to Toledo, Ohio, and I've seen the Glass Bowl firsthand. There ain't shit out there. It is true action out in Toledo. But yeah, I think it's you got to look at the lines here. Of course, there is some revisionist history between these two teams from 2024 as well. And then you got to look at Toledo, 2-2 on the year. They're off a close loss to Western Michigan, so they got that chip on their shoulder. This is a team that was projected to be the top team in the MAC this season. And then you got Akron, 1-3 on the year, off their first win, but that first win was Duquesne in the FCS. So this Akron team is not as good as they have been in at least last 2 years. Akron's defense is just bad defending the pass, giving up over 400 passing yards per game on the road so far this year. And Toledo's offense, despite their performance last week versus Western Michigan, put up 419 yards of total offense per game, 5.1 yards per carry in the ground game as well. And then we have the revenge angle. Remember, Toledo at the end of the year, I think it was the last game in the MAC before they hit their bowl game, they lost to Akron 21-14. They were 8.5-point road favorites in that situation, but the score was a little bit misleading. Toledo won the yardage battle, plus 131 net yards in that game. Toledo drove the ball inside the Akron 30 7 times. That's right, 7 times. Only came up with 14 points. They had 3 missed field goals, a fumble, a turnover on downs, and Akron turned 2 of those turnovers, the missed field goals, into 14 points. That was the difference in the game. That got you the W. Line is now 21 this year, less than 1 year later. I think it was probably, 8 months later or something like that, 9 months. And there was 8.5 on the road last year. I think Toledo absolutely dominates in a revenge angle. They ain't going to let what happened last year happen this year. Get it done in the Glass Bowl. Give me Toledo, minus 21.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. This is one of those classic games, low total, high line. They're basically telling you Akron's not going to score much in this game. It just kind of screams one of these games like, I don't know, like 34-10 or something like that. If you guys want to play, the final score game, which we love to do sometimes in pro basketball, 34-10 Toledo, and keeping it moving. My first play out of our original slate here, not exactly a low-key game here. Tennessee at Mississippi State. 4:15 in Starkville. Great spot here. Take the home underdog at +8. When you really look at this, I think Mississippi State is a continued buy low. They're 4-0 this year. They were 5-17 in their previous 22 games. They have a fifth-year quarterback, this kid Blake Shapen. They have a mature team. They're well coached. They're on a revenge tour. And for those of you guys that have watched The Shark and the Gun, of course, we're here season 5. We've attached to a few of these teams over the years. Kansas, Vanderbilt. I think Mississippi State is in that conversation. When you're that bad for that long, when you win 4, you're not a sell high. You're a continued upward point. And Tennessee purely does not perform particularly well on the road under this Josh Heupel era here. And if you listen to Heupel talk, he's just not a big dog. Played with Oklahoma in the 90s. I believe he won a national championship or a Heisman or both, something like that. You guys know who listen to me. I love psychology. I love to figure out what guys can travel well, who can lead. He's not that guy. They were 1-2 ATS last year on the road at SEC teams. If those were old school SEC teams, not teams like Oklahoma, Mississippi State's an old school team. This is a revenge game on a short number, and Tennessee did lose their quarterback. Crazily enough, this kid, Nico Iamaleava, Gunz, talk about the transfer portal like going awry for a kid. He was the talk of the town last year in Knoxville. They were basically running the table. All of a sudden, he transfers to UCLA. He looked awful. Gunz, like what a disaster, right?
I think he's going to transfer again. Of course, the coach getting fired over there at UCLA. I think he might be out. But NIL money kind of changes things. Empty promises, not getting the money he wanted. That's why he got out of there. I know he wanted to be with his brother too. He's out, local out there. So tough. And that team is just absolutely abysmal this year. I feel bad for him because you would have thought this guy would be one of the favorites to win a Heisman after what he did at Tennessee, getting in the college football playoff and playing absolutely excellent. So tough spot for him. We'll see what happens at his next school.
Yeah, definitely a story to watch as we go forward to the next season and the season beyond. But just final point on this game, the quarterback really does tell you the story here. The game that was played last year at Knoxville, it was week 11, November 9, 2024. Tennessee was laying a huge 25 points. Actually did not cover the spread, 34-19 victory, non-cover. Key point, though, on the Mississippi State quarterback situation, They were actually throwing a true freshman in the game last year. This kid, Michael Van Buren Jr. He sounds like a president from 1820. But nonetheless, he did actually transfer to LSU. It's fitting. He's got to be down in LSU with that type of name, in the Bayou. But true freshman road SEC. Of course, it was a blowout. Now you get a fifth-year senior. It's very polarized in terms of experience and quality. This is going to be a tight game. I see this game falling right around a field goal either way. Take Mississippi State +8, and let's cash. Next game on the card, going back to the gun, 6 o'clock in Kennesaw, Georgia. Kennesaw State against Middle Tennessee State. The Blue Raiders. I love that name. We don't love the Blue Raiders on the road. Kennesaw State, first time as a favorite in FBS football. Guns, the line's telling the story here.
Yeah, I mean, you want to get the nitty gritty, the dirtiest of the dirty. I would have gave this out as a VIP, but I didn't, and I found it late last night, and I was like, "This is just perfect." Fifth Third Stadium. That's right. The name of the stadium is Fifth Third Stadium. It sounds like a street crossing. I mean, what is going on here is but you have Middle Tennessee State that's absolutely awful this year. They're 1-3 on the year, and they're off a loss to Marshall. This is not the same Marshall team that we're used to. Mind you, everybody packed their bags and left and went to Southern Miss. But you have Kennesaw State. They're off back-to-back wins, starting to heat up. Yes, they won one against Merrimack, who's in the FCS. Off a win against Arkansas State. They're 2-2 on the year. But when you look at Minnesota State, you break them down. Their defense is awful. And a lot of that, their offense is awful. And a lot of that has to do with their quarterback. Quarterback plays terrible, and their offensive line is terrible. Their offensive line gives up 11.7% sack rate already this season, and the rushing offense is 2.7 yards per carry so far. They were held to 153 yards of total offense against FCS Austin Peay. That is terrible. You need to be demoted to the FCS when you have that kind of statistic against an FCS opponent and move Austin Peay up. But you look at Kennesaw State's defense, not bad this year, I would say. Throw out that Indiana game because Indiana is just going to be an unstoppable force, a movable object in the Big Ten. They only allowed 306 yards of total offense to their opponents outside of that game. And they held Wake Forest in week 1 to 79 yards below their season average. So pretty good numbers there for Kennesaw State. Also, revenge game. We love revenge games. In a lot of these situations. This is a minor one. They did lose to Mid-Tennessee State 14-5 last year, but they were 9.5-point road dogs. Now they're a 7-point favorite. And then you got to look at Middle Tennessee State. They're a 1-7 ATS as a conference dog in their last 2 years. And Kennesaw State has only been in the FBS for 2 years. And this is the first time they've been a favorite in Conference USA and the FBS. Why aren't we taking Kennesaw State on that sheer purpose alone? That's the only cap I'd have to give. And I would tell you that this is a Kennesaw State spot. Hammer it. Kennesaw State -7.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree. This reminds me of Sam Houston State coming over here in the last couple of years. Started covering as a favorite. Noteworthy line. Take Kennesaw and let's cash. My final play, we're going to jump into some bets, and parlay, and just keep it moving here. 7 o'clock, another game down south. This one in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Southern Miss hosting Jacksonville State. Of course, that is not Jacksonville, Florida. That is Jacksonville, I believe, Alabama, lower Alabama down there. Taking Southern Miss at -4. Just a great spot here. We're not going to keep it complicated. This is a very similar handicap to what I said about Mississippi State. Revenge game last year, early in the season, Jacksonville State at home blew out Southern Miss 44-7. But again, it was a quarterback situation. In that game, Southern Miss actually put out a third-string quarterback and a true freshman, this kid, John White. Talk about your generic American name. I see you, John, but we don't love you traveling in conference play as a true freshman. 44-7 blowout. Jacksonville State was favored by a touchdown in that game. Now they're a significant underdog. Steam all over Southern Miss. I have Southern Miss to win this game by 9 points. And final point on this, the quarterback situation for Southern Miss this year, incredibly improved. This kid, Braylon Braxton, fifth-year senior, coming over from Marshall last year. Last year playing for Marshall, Braxton was 5-0 against the spread at home in Central West Virginia. This is all over Southern Miss. take the Golden Eagles, the pride of Brett Favre, and let's cash. Gunz, we are.
I honestly think that Brett Favre is the reason why that team basically took all of Marshall and brought him over. Is like threw a little couple sacks of cash. He probably grifted off somebody. I know he's in a little bit of heat over there, but we'll see. I don't know. It seems a little bit weird that all of the Marshall roster that won the Sun Belt last year is now at Southern Miss that only won one game last year against an FCS opponent. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about it. I mean, Brett Favre, what a character. I mean, the whole situation with the Florida State girls, working for the Jets back when he was there, when he was like 40 years old. We could go on. This is sports prognostication, not sports gossip. 36 minutes, and we got best bets.
Best bets, baby. Here we go.
Fridays are for freedom. CFB Week 5, the Shark and the Gun. Gunz, best bets.
What am I doing, man? I'm wearing the hat for a reason. Get it done, James Franklin. It's your turn. Drew Aller, Singleton, those running backs in the backfield, the wide receivers, the offensive line. You say you're elite. You say you want to get over the precipice and be a good team. It's your time, guys. And you're going to do it against an Oregon team that has a lot of new parts and pieces from that team from last year. Get it done. There's a reason why they made you a 3.5-point favorite at home. And it's going to be at night in a whiteout for the first time. You're not getting big noon kickoff here, folks. You're getting a whiteout, and it's going to be electric. If you ever see a Penn State whiteout when they play a good team, crazy stuff happens. Penn State -3.5.
Yeah, I mean, that place is going to be raucous. As I said, those of you guys who are not familiar with this is not on the, the polarized sides of Pennsylvania. This is not Pittsburgh. It's not Philadelphia. This is the center of the state. This is the biggest sports team in like 100-mile radius. Everybody and their entire extended family will be watching this game or trying to get into this stadium. People will be tailgating from 7 a.m. in the morning. It's going to be absolutely nuts. And you have Oregon coming in here. They're not used to this. I'm sorry. Back in the old days of the Pac-12, you go to, Trojan Stadium, you go up to Corvallis, you go up. It doesn't get like this. This is Big Ten, almost October, fall. This is fish out of water, literally. Lay down the hammer, Penn State. We're waiting for you. Let's cash. That's a collaboration with the Gun. And my other free play, take Mississippi State at +8. We got a lot of plays, a lot of angles, Guns. Let's put together a quick parlay, and we'll get out of here.
Oh, I'm going to get, let me get the board up here so we can actually give them a plus number. Where did I put that? There we go. All right, I'm ready. We're going to put Kennesaw State on there because it's the first time they've been a favorite ever.
Money line? Ever. We can go money line.
Yeah, money. I think this is a money line parlay. Let's do straight up money line parlay.
Yeah,
this
if we go 7, you're still going to get, plus a couple thousand here.
Yep. Just gonna
find it. What's the line there?
6 o'clock, right? Finding these numbers is so many college football games. There we go. -255.
Okay.
What else? Let's
go Penn State money line.
Oh, got it. That's a must. That's 7:30. So that is -172.
Okay. Let's go. I guess we can go through our plays here. College football is a little bit different because we don't have the obscure prop market and all that stuff that we have in the NFL and basketball. We can kind of just go down the line here. If you want to add a couple other games, as I said, I think LSU wins the game. Let's put LSU money line on there.
All right, you want to put USC on there?
Yeah, money line sounds good.
-245 for USC, and then LSU.
Slight plus odds, I believe, there.
Yeah, we got to put a plus boy in there. 330, right? All right, there we go. +102, and that gives us 4. Then we'll do
Toledo money line.
Oh yeah, for sure. Toledo money line, the glass bowl. That's -1700.
Beautiful. Mortal lock.
Yeah, you gotta. I always do that with the parlays. You got to throw a real heater in there, one that's like it can't lose. That motherfucker can't lose.
Total comfort zone pick there.
How about this? Let's put. James Madison is playing a revenge game against Georgia Southern, and the line is 16.5. I think it was like 9 last year. You want to put minus 710 on there?
Yeah, let's do that. How many is that? 6?
That is 6. Yes.
Okay, one more. There's got to be one on here that's kind of a. Let's throw Utah on there. I think Utah goes in there and handles West Virginia.
Oh, a little bounce back. Virginia Tech, right? Is that who they playing?
West Virginia. They got blown out last week.
Got it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think that Utah takes care of them. So we'll go minus 450 there.
What time is that game?
3:30.
Okay.
Yeah, Utah might hammer. All right, here we go.
Okay, got it. Minus 480. I got. So the parlay is plus 814 on FanDuel.
All right, so it's an 8-1. You get 8 units back if you risk one. I think that cashes probably. You want to put it up in the screen? Can you do? Okay. Week 5 CFB pizza money parlay. Again, this is for you guys that are gonna sweat this out. Just go light. It's for fun. It's not. Obviously parlays are not gonna pay your mortgage. Kennesaw State minus 255, Penn State money line, LSU, USC, Toledo. The big juice minus 1,700, JMU and Utah. So that's an 8-1. And let's cash. See you guys in the chat. For those of you guys hanging out, enjoy this Friday night. Fridays in the fall are the best times of the year. I've been saying it all summer. Gunz and I were on here talking baseball in July. We said we want to be right here. We are. It's incredible. Gunz, give them some words, and I'll close it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate everybody that's joining now, joining later. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video that you're watching right now on YouTube. That's what gets us in the algorithm. That's what gives us the information to share with everybody else that may not know about the J Cavalier channel. Please do that. Share with your friends, share with your mother, your sister, your cousins. Tell them where the sharpest information on the planet is. It is the J Cavalier channel. And make sure you check me out on Instagram tomorrow, 9 a.m. Talking ball, talking college picks. You guys give the questions, I give the answers, and also we'll build another 5 to 6 leg parlay. We came down to the last leg, and I stayed up till 3 a.m. with you guys live just to make sure that one cashed. We almost got there. We didn't get there. We should have taken the spread, not the money line. But I digress. I'll be there tomorrow, so go check me out. And I'll check us out on Telegram as well. That's all I got, Shark. Let's cash some tickets on Saturday.
Yeah, speaking of parlays, last Sunday when you were on here with myself and the coach, we actually almost hit that parlay too. We hit 6 out of 7 legs. The only way we didn't cash was the over in the Chargers game, and it was because the Chargers kicked a field goal at the end of the game. If it went to overtime, we would have hit it. So we're right on the cusp, and it is a suddenly not so casual Friday. We appreciate you guys so much. Have a great night. Please bet responsibly. Always take care of your bankroll so you can be here long-term with us. This is a lifetime project. It's not won overnight, and you should never lose it overnight, so you can't compete as we go forward. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. We will be on here Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. for NFL football. It's a CFB Knowledge for College, and it is an opportunity to dominate. For Jay Cavalier, cash your tickets around the world, the prop master Luke Shuey, and Coach Rick. He is the gun. I am the shark. Stay fast, stay strong, stay disciplined, and let's dominate.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my own.